What's up, guys? Straight from the chest. My name is Justin Groth, and I want to thank you for tuning in, listening, viewing, giving me your ear at this moment. It means a lot to me. It always does. I'm so grateful for your attention. And guys, as promised, last episode, I remember putting something in place. It was going to be called What Irritates Me, essentially, right? So we're going off that, and we're continuing with that. But what I'm going to call it is not centered around irritation. I'm going to call the segment, We're Not Friends. Because if you do these things that I'm claiming that irritate me, we're just not friends, right? So today I got to talk about one thing that irritates me more than anything, and we're definitely not friends if you say this. But one of the things that irritate me the most is when women or men, mostly I hear it from women, that's why I put them on the hot seat first, but men say it too. If you say blank is epic, we're not friends. Just saying. If you say that word, we can't be friends. But anyways, moving on. Guys, the other day I was scrolling through Instagram and I had this influencer pop up on my page. I call him an influencer because he has a fairly large following, and the content that he produces would be more in line with influential, motivational, inspirational, etc. And he said in an interview that when people ask him, because he has his own podcast, when people ask him, hey man, should I start a podcast? He 99% of the time says, no, you shouldn't. And the reason why he says that is because the people that are usually so enamored with him and are trying to replicate what he's done because of the success or the following that he has, they innately want more. They want that too. And so they're presuming that this is the way he got it, was doing the podcast. And that if I start a podcast, I'll be that same way, right? Or I will follow in the same footsteps. And what he's saying is, no, that's not how it happens. Yes, it is, but no, it's not. See, you have to have the tools capable to be able to keep a consistent basis with your podcast forums. So what he's saying is, don't start a podcast, because 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, the reason why you want the podcast is because you think it's going to be an overnight success, or you may not have to put that much time into it, and you could be just like, you could have the following that I have, you could have the influence that I have, etc., etc. And that's not the way these things come to manifest. You have to have the ability to set aside 3, 4, 5 years and understand that nothing will probably happen for 3 to 4 to 5 years with your podcast. But all the while, you have to remain consistent. So let me put this into context here. If somebody were to tell you, look, you have to work at this job for 5 years straight before we give you any kind of raise, it's going to be substantial to where you can live handsomely. How many people are going to do that in a job that they kind of don't like, or just kind of regularly like, half like? Not many people, man. Not many people are crazy enough to do that because they want a return on their investment. Can you hear that? That's me snapping my fingers. It's a horrible snap, but they want it right away. They want that return on investment right away. And they're only willing to do that if they get a return on their investment. Definitely not for 5 years. They don't want to put in 5 years of their investing time into something that is not going to return right away, instantaneously. Like, we want that. And so like anything good, like anything worth doing, if you want to be a bodybuilder, you're probably not going to be a good bodybuilder if you want instant results, because that's not how it comes. You're probably not going to be a good contractor if you want to work in the field for a few months and learn everything about the trade. It probably won't happen. It won't happen. And even if it does, there will not be enough experience under your belt to be able to scale you to become a reputable contractor in the long run. So what he's saying is, dude, if you can't put your head down and not worry about monetizing for the first 3 to 5 years, like you think is going to happen right away when you start, you're going to start charting and you're going to start monetizing and get paid advertisements, etc. That's not the way it works. And if you want that, don't do it. Because it's not enough for you to put in 6 months of your life, even if you were to be doing it consistently once a week and devote that time once a week to your podcast, when there's 70,000 other channels out there. Why are people listening to you? You need to make sure that your mission is more important and is the thing that's the vehicle for you, that's driving you towards your end game. And the great thing about having an end game, or the great thing about, I should put it this way, the great thing about not having an end game, that is the thing that makes you unstoppable, because you couldn't care less. You're producing based on what your mission is, based on what you want to get out to the public, based on what value you think you could instill in others' lives, and you don't care if you monetize from it. That is going to make you an animal, and that's going to make you a force to be reckoned with, because there's literally no reason why you should be doing this, but there's every reason why you should at the same time. And there's no reason why you shouldn't. You are unstoppable if that is your aura. If that is what is embodying you and encompassing you, you're unstoppable. The same reason why you started your business, because you had a firm, integral mission behind it. That's the thing that's going to carry you and going to present doors of blessings upon as you move forward. That's the thing that's going to be essentially elevating you and becoming your growth. But when you're too fixed on the dollar amount, or you're too fixed on the agenda that you can't even curate, that you can't even see, by the way, you're too fixated on that, then you've got definitely the cart before the horse there. And that's not going to end up in your favor, most likely. And so that's what he's saying, dude. Don't start this. Don't start this if you can at least devote one day to a podcast. It doesn't have to be a day, but if you're devoting a time in your week, one time a week, consistently, every single week, to your podcast, no matter what, provided you're not dead, or there's not a death in the family you're dealing with, then obviously those get excused, clearly. I don't know why I had to say that. But if you cannot produce continuity, don't even start it. Because there's a lot of technical stuff that goes on in the background to produce the podcast. And then there's money invested for all the equipment if you want to do it right. And even though podcasting seems easy and it's a new thing to do, it's not something that you should embark on if your goal is to reach people, if your goal is to scale in the future, if you have a monetary agenda behind it right now. That can't be your mission right now. Your mission is to get your word out. Your mission is to create genuine content that people can use and apply in their lives that can help them. I don't know what people can't wrap their heads around, why they can't wrap their heads around this. If your goal is about you, you'll fail. If your goal is centered around you, you'll fail. Do you understand that? But if your goal is centered around helping others, that's when you succeed, because you can't make this on your own, dude. You cannot make this trip on your own. You need others to support you. Not only that, you need others to be fans of you, or else you have nothing. Like a product, when you bring a product to market, if your product isn't helping anybody but you fail. Even though you've covered your own ass. But covering your own ass doesn't mean anything when you're providing something to the world. And so that's what we're doing with podcasting, right? That's what we're doing when we provide a product. Those are the products that sell off the shelves. Stuff that we all need. Like bottled water. Who would have thought? Humongous. Humongous and the most simplest product ever developed, or ever made, or ever brought to market, aside from the dumb pet rock. But that's junk, and that's dumb, and that's old, and nobody even talks about that anymore. But when you provide something of value that everybody can use, or at least people can take and inherit some value from, maybe not everybody, but most, you're going to succeed. But if you're predicated on just you and just what suits you and what you're going to gain from this and et cetera, pack your bags now. Just pack them now, because sooner or later, and I would say sooner rather than later, you're going to be needing those bags to take your trip down failure lane. That was so corny, but you get it. You get my analogy. That is the way that this goes. You need to predicate your mission on other people. That doesn't mean letting others dictate your mission. Those are two different things. See, the predication on your end is a scheduled destiny that is fulfilled by your visceral purpose. The dictation of others is predicated on where they think you ought to be, or what they think you should be doing based on their own projections. And that is not accurate. That is not something that should be practiced. But what should be practiced is you making sure that your mission is predicated on authenticity, integrity, and the building of others. That is how you succeed. You can cut and dice it any way you'd like with regards to any business, any format, anything. I always talk about Steve Jobs. Let's use him again. He made sure that his product was effortless, was smooth, was seamless in terms of how it operated. That's the reason why every regular person, we're not talking about the droid users here, every regular person uses an iPhone. I'm sorry if you're a droid user, but listen, it was predicated off of those concepts because he knew that people wanted simple and seamless in terms of functionality. Not complicated, not overly complex. Got the job done, and it did so in a simple and effective and rudimentary way, really. And he fought for that because he knew that that's what others wanted. Not just what he wanted. He saw that vision for others because he listened to others. And he took in stride what they were saying, and he cut and diced it in his own head with all of his technical abilities, and then that's what he produced. His vision was predicated on the mission of helping others, albeit through a technological device. It still benefited us in a way that's going to leave a polarizing effect for decades from now. It's no different with your small business. It's no different from your podcast. It's no different from the way you live your life every single day, minute by minute. Make sure that you're living authentically, integrally, and with the mission to help others be better. That's when you have a business. That's when you have success. That is when you will monetize by default.